Hey everyone, today for another vlog, and today I'd like to talk about how I'm trying to internalize the fact that there are phases in life. So what do I mean by phases in life? What I mean, basically the fact that you are not gonna be super productive and work on your goals all the time. There are probably gonna be phases in your life where you need something else, such as rest or exploration, right? So if you're familiar with, for example, artificial intelligence terms, there's a term by artificial intelligence. I mean like the proper field, not what we call machine learning nowadays. Like there's a bit of confusion between the two. But in artificial intelligence, there's this distinction uh, where there's like a phase of exploration where like the AI learns, to explore like the space of the game, for example, or the world it's into, and trying to find strategies that make sense and that work, right? And then there's a phase of exploitation where it simply focuses on a strategy that's figured out, and it just exploits the hell out of it, to achieve whatever it's designed for. And so like those two things are pretty important, and the key thing in AI is that you don't want it to get stuck in one or the other. You don't want it to exploit before it's found a good strategy, of course, right? But you also don't want it to explore forever. You want it to get results. So it kind of needs to strike a balance between two, right? And so that's kind of what I mean with phases in life. It's this general distinction of preparing for yourself for something else, through exploration or research or more inner work, and then there's more like of external work where you exploit things you've figured out, you sell things, you become more successful, etc. So I guess that's the main distinction I can see is like internal work versus internal work, external work, or something else I can see is like learning the value of rest, right? Like not always working. That could also be a type of phase in life where you just focus on rest and well-being and quality of life instead of chasing improvement or whatever. Or maybe you focus on relationships, for example. So the reason why I think it's important to internalize that fact is because human beings can simply not do everything at once. Well, for the simple reason that we only have so much time in a day, right? Only have so much time and especially so much energy. And it's probably better to focus on a few things for like a few months rather than trying to focus on everything um, at once, in my experience, because it takes a certain time to get into like a certain activity or a mood, I guess you could say. Like if you're trying to like meditate and draw and work and cook and focus on your health in the same day, it's really overwhelming. It's very likely that you will not do any of them. Uh, that you will run into days rather when you don't do any of them, but when you feel really like no motivation. But if you slowly like incrementally implement each of them in your life in such a way that it becomes like a really solid component where you can actually start enjoying them and develop a skill over them, right? Like once you start being good at cooking, it doesn't feel like a chore. Or, I don't know if it's a chore or core, the way it's pronounced. It doesn't feel tedious anymore, and it starts being enjoyable and starts being something you want to do by yourself from your own intent. Then once it's been internalized, it's a lot easier to like pick up new things, right? So I think the model of like phases makes a lot more sense when you want to bring change to your life, and it's something I need to remind myself. And the reason why I need to remind myself this is because right now I'm going through a bit of a not feeling amazing regarding my job, my office job, because I've known for like the past years that I wouldn't enjoy doing an office job um, for extended periods of time, and it's been confirmed with my experience. I don't enjoy it that much. The main reason is that it's simply not fulfilling. Like it's so like abstract, and there is no like tangible, observable result. You work on like a piece of code that like improves someone else, another worker's job, which also helps another worker's job. at the end of the day, what you get is like the super abstract result of people who you've never seen, and the the end result is that like the company you're working in is doing like 3% better this month or whatever. Like it's so abstract, it's so convoluted, you cannot see anything, right? And so yeah, there's no like fulfillment of like creating something and seeing the results. It sounds really simple, but it's so missing in modern jobs. Like like I'm so envious of people who can just like whose job consists in creating something and they literally see the result. Like people like chefs or artists or musicians, like stage performers, or people working with other people like through therapy or massage or coaching, or that kind of stuff, where you really feel the result, you really feel that you're helping people or that you're creating something. And I'm really jealous of that because I don't have that in my office job. And there are many other problems with office jobs. I don't know, I might talk about it, but I think the general sense I get is that they externalize many costs. Those jobs, like even though you get paid a decent amount for an office job, you lose a lot of things, like obviously like physical health because you're sitting all day. You're still you're losing touch with like your body because again sitting all day, plus the fact that you're staying on the screen and that your mind is all focused on like what's within the thing, right? And you're losing track of your body. Just like the general environment of corporate world where you kind of expected to like pretend to enjoy it, but like it's quite fake. I mean, it's not like I'm surprised, but like, it's kind of, yeah, it's not nice to be part of that. It's really fake, and the conversations are really like dull, I find. So yeah, that's the phase I'm in my life is right now in my life, is that I'm working on a job I'm not too keen on, right? I'm not super keen on office jobs, and it's a phase where I'm preparing myself to leave this, and I think it would be really dangerous to try to leave right now. Really dangerous because first of all, I don't have skills that could allow me to earn money. Second of all, I don't have money in my bank account, like much money in my bank accounts. Like I literally have like one salary worth of money, and although I'm good at not spending because I don't really desire anything honestly like to buy. Honestly, I just want freedom. I don't have money right now, and so no skills, no money, and I do live with my parents, so my expenses are really low, but they wouldn't want me to leave my job, right? Because I don't have any, and that's fair. Honestly, that's very fair because I don't have any like alternative right now. And thirdly, I don't have like a network that could like help me and where we could like do something together to figure it out. But yeah, it would be really dangerous for me to leave right now. So I think the best thing right now is to learn to live in such a way where I don't indulge in the negativity of it. So you know, I I, I really felt the need to tweet something, and I did. I tweeted like about how like kind of despairing over kind of being desperate over like the situation, but because it's only been 3 weeks and I'm really super jaded towards my job. But something I noticed is that I do tend to indulge in negativity, and okay, my job is kind of dull, but at the same time, it's not that bad. Like my coworkers and my manager, they are pretty nice. Like they they're very like considerate. They listen to my input, and they don't really like. I mean, I guess it's only been the first week, so maybe it's because of that. But like, they don't really try to get me to a certain movement. What they just they allow me to work individually, and we just talk about like progress and stuff. Again, maybe it's only because it's the first week, so I don't know. But they're quite nice, even though the job is dull, like the people aren't bad. Like it's not that stressful of a job. But with that being said, I do feel a lot of tension in my belly, and I don't know where it comes from. I just feel a lot of tension in my body, and I don't know where it comes from because I don't really feel pressured by the job. Like there's no really hard deadline to meet, and like manager screaming at you to go faster. There's none of that, but I still feel tension in my belly, and I don't know. Maybe it's the accumulation of like pressure that I put on myself that's still like there. I don't know. I do struggle a lot with like chilling out and relaxing and not putting pressure on myself, I have to say. So maybe it's the result of that. Yeah. And as a result, like all of this, the work and which obviously takes a lot of time, and the fact that I have to accumulate stuff to prepare myself, I think it simply means that I can't be super like on top of my personal projects. As much as I would like to draw more and to publish more on the internet, like it would be nice, right? And I still do draw every day, like a bit, at least a bit. But it's simply a phase of my life. Maybe it's just maybe what I'm about to say is just cope, but like to me it feels like it's just a phase of my life where I can't really be that productive in terms of my drawing. It would be a really bad idea to try to go really hard, because it would probably lead to burnout, because a a full time job is already like a lot of time and energy spent, right? And trying to turn your hobbies into another like half time job, or maybe full time job, that sounds really like harsh towards myself and a bit unfair, honestly. Because I think I really do struggle to relax and to rest. So right now it might be a lot more wise to just recognize that, and to just and to really just learn to rest and stop pressuring myself, and to understand why I don't allow myself to rest. Also, yeah. So yeah, I think internalizing the fact that there are phases in life is really important. The most common like mistake I see in myself, and I suspect in others as well, is that we don't allow the phases of rest to. Uh, we simply don't allow those phases of rest to like happen. We are so conditioned to like work and improve all day, and plan and be efficient with our time and be productive and all that, that we don't value rest, even though it's incredibly like what's the word, like it's not considered of the long term to not rest, because in the short term you might get away with it, but in the long term you will just burn out. It's as simple as that. You will burn out, and you will also like you won't have time to reflect and to be like strategic and to work smarter. You will simply be tired, and you will only do like very like repetitive work, in my opinion. You cannot like strategize as well if you don't rest. And yeah, so that's the most common mistake I can imagine when you don't understand that there are phases in life, is that you don't allow phases of rest. And also like you might also not like allow phases of exploration, right? You might always try to like be into exploitation, where you try to be super productive, work on projects and all that. But the thing is, you can only work really hard at something if you resonate with it, if it feels important. And the thing in life is that there are many times where you feel lost and you feel confused, and for that you need exploration. You don't need exploitation. But you can't be productive when you're confused. You need to figure something out. And obviously, like exploration is not like, how to say, it's not like a done deal, right? It's not like once you find something in life, then you're just done with the exploration. Like obviously, like life is really weird, and there are always unknowns. So it's always like exploration is always an unfolding process, even when you like settle down into something more definite, right? So what I'm trying to say is that exploration is never really over, even when you are more in a certain phase of your life. And it's also like it's not something that you it's something that also requires work to do. Like it's an incremental process. You can't just figure out yourself and then be done, and now you know yourself. It's You need experience, and you need to put yourself through experiences to figure out yourself. And some of that experience might be to settle down and work on a project and figure out if you like it or not. So yeah, so again, trying to come back to the list I'm going to make right now. The mistakes when you don't understand that there are phases in life. The first one would be not resting. The second one would be not exploring. And I guess, yeah, another third one would be not recognizing the importance of preparation. The fact that, trying to being too impatient and trying to go too fast to like what one part of life or one phase of your life you would like. Um, yeah. Although that being said, sometimes we do kind of create like a fake, what I would call like a fake goalpost. Like, I don't know, not a goalpost, but more like fake intermediary goals. Like, we sometimes tend to create like this whole picture in our mind that, in order to go to X, I first have to go to A and then B and C and so on. But sometimes you can just go to X directly. Like, the first thing that comes to mind is like, when it comes to like fulfillment in life, like sometimes we think like in order to be fulfilled in life, we need to like accomplish all those things and like, like be super like healthy and be super like pure, heal all our traumas and be like the most mentally healthy possible. And those things are really important. I'm not dismissing them, but like sometimes to be fulfilled, you can just allow yourself to be fulfilled. Like as stupid as it sounds, sometimes we just not allow ourselves to be fulfilled, and we just create those like conditions in our mind. Like, oh, right now I'm not good enough to be fulfilled. I don't deserve happiness and all that. Like, we might not consciously believe it, but sometimes but very often, in fact, it's unconscious. So yeah, so that's the third type of mistake, or maybe not a mistake, is not preparing yourself and not realizing the importance of preparation. And I guess even there could even be a mistake when it comes to like the productivity phase of your life. Right? Like sometimes I don't know if there are like really any vivid experiences, examples rather, off the top of my head, but like sometimes I feel like people are kind of not, they don't really want to exploit an idea that's been really working well for them. Like, like maybe they're doing something that is pretty like successful and that they enjoy, but then they don't really like exploit it as much as they could. And I think that could also be like a mistake when you don't realize that you've actually got a really good idea that you really enjoy, and sometimes you simply don't allow yourself to just keep doing it. uh, I wish I had more vivid examples. It sounds rather abstract, right? But like, I'm thinking of like someone who's got a really like solid business plan, and they still like keep going through their normal life. They might not. Maybe they didn't like switch to their job. Maybe they didn't switch job. Like maybe they still work at like the regular job. Meanwhile, they've got something that is really working well on the side, and that they maybe enjoy far more than the job, and might be hesitant to switch to that. I don't know. It's understandable in that case why they would be hesitant, because it's one thing to enjoy doing something on the side when you're working on your own terms, but when it becomes your main way of making money, it becomes different, right? Like the relationship with that activity is bound to change. So maybe there's some wisdom behind not wanting to make the switch. But okay, so this has been a surprisingly long vlog. I didn't expect to say that much actually. I've been working with much more shorter prompts, which is where I'm surprised, because in the past I would have like, I don't know, I would have like 15 to 25 lines to describe like what I'm about to say. Here I have like 5 lines, and it still seems to come out decently well. I kind of hesitate sometimes and stumble upon my words, but I feel like the direction of what I'm about to say came out pretty well. The specifics, I don't know. I'm not that good of a speaker still, but yeah. So yeah, thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time. So, as I said, like in the first video, I'm going to try to make weekly vlogs, and I think I've been more than one by 1 week, and yeah. But at the very least, I intend to make at least one a week in the weekend at least. So yeah. So see you at the very least next Sunday. Goodbye.